Big Ben. Big Ben is a nickname for the Great Bell of the Great Clock of Westminster, at the north end of the Palace of Westminster in London, England, and the name is frequently extended to refer also to a clock and the clock tower. The official name of the tower in which Big Ben is located was originally the Clock Tower, but it was renamed Elizabeth Tower in 2012. The tower was designed by Augustus Pugin in a neoclassic style. When completed in 1859, its clock was the largest and most accurate four-phase striking and chiming clock in the world. The tower stands 316 feet tall. At the climb from the ground level to the belfry is 333 steps. Its base is a square, measuring 40 feet on each side. Dials of the clock are 22.5 feet. All four nations of the United Kingdom are represented on a tower and shields featuring a rose for England, thistle for Scotland, shamrock for Ireland, and leek for Wales. Big Ben is the largest of the Tower 5 bells and weighs 13.5. It was the largest bell in the United Kingdom for 23 years. The origin of the bell's nickname is open to question. It may be named after Sir Benjamin Hall, who oversaw its installation, or heavyweight boxing champion Benjamin Count. The tower is a British cultural icon, recognized all over the world. It is one of the most prominent symbols of the United Kingdom and parliamentary democracy, and is often used to establishing shots of films set in London. In 2017, the 4-year schedule of renovation works began on the tower. Modifications have included adding a lift, reglazing and repairing the clock dials, and upgrading lighting and repairing roof tiles. Elizabeth Tower, originally referred to as the Clock Tower, but more popularly known as Big Ben, was raised as a part of Charles Barry's design for a new Palace of Westminster, after the old palace was largely destroyed by fire in 1834. He turned to Augustus Pugin for the design of the clock tower, which resembles earlier Pugin designs. Construction of the tower began in 1843. The design of the tower completed in 1859. The tower is designed in Pugin's Gothic style and is 316 feet high, making it the third tallest clock tower in the United Kingdom. Its dials are 118 feet above ground level. The tower's base is square, measuring 40 feet on each side, resting on concrete foundations 12 feet thick. It was constructed using bearings clad on the exterior with limestone, topped by a spire covered in hundreds of cast iron roof tiles. There is a spiral staircase with 290 steps up to the clock room, followed by 44 to reach the belfry and an additional 59 to the top of the spire. Above the belfry are 52 shields decorated with national emblems of the 4 countries of the United Kingdom: the red and white rose of England's Tudor dynasty, the thistle of Scotland, shamrock of Northern Ireland, and leek of Wales. A ventilation shaft running from ground level up to the belfry, which measures 16 feet by 8 feet, was designed by David Boswell Reid, known as the grandfather of air conditioning. It was intended to draw cool, fresh air into the Palace of Westminster. In practice, this didn't work and the shaft was repurposed as a chimney until around 1914. The 2017 to 2021 conservation works included the addition of a lift that was installed in the shaft. Its foundation rests on a layer of gravel, below which is London clay. Owing to this soft ground, the tower leans slightly to the north. In 1990, thousands of tons of concrete were pumped into the ground underneath the tower to stabilize it during construction of the Westminster section of the Jubilee line. Journalists during Queen Victoria's reign called it St. Stephen's Tower, as members of Parliament originally sat at St. Stephen's Hall. These journalists referred to anything related to the House of Commons as news from St. Stephen's. In 2012, the House of Commons voted in support of a proposal to change the name from the Clock Tower to Elizabeth Tower, in commemoration of Elizabeth II in her Diamond Jubilee year, since the large West Tower, now known as Victoria Tower, had been renamed in tribute to Queen Victoria on the occasion of her Diamond Jubilee. Ayrton light. A new feature was added in 1873 by actor Smith Ayrton, Then first Commissioner of Works and Public Buildings. The ayrton light is a lantern seated above the belfry and is lit whenever the House of Commons sits after dark. It can be seen from across London. It's shown towards Buckingham Palace, so Queen Victoria could look out of a window and see when the Commons were at work. Augustine Pugin derived inspiration from the clockmaker Benjamin Lewis when he designed the dial. Each is made of cast iron sections bolted together. The wood frame is 22.5 feet in diameter, making them the third largest in the United Kingdom. They each contain 324 pieces of glass. Originally, the dials were backlit using gas lamps. At first only when Parliament was sitting, but they have been illuminated from dusk until dawn since 1876. Electric bulbs were installed at the beginning of the 20th century. At the base of each dial is the Latin inscription, which means "Keep safe our Queen Victoria I." The clock's gunmetal hour hands and copper minute hands are 8.75 feet and 14 feet long respectively. When completed, the frame and hands were Prussian blue, but were painted black in the 1930s to disguise the effects of air pollution. The original color scheme was reinstated during the 2017 to 2021 conservation work. It was found that no fewer than 6 different color schemes had been used over the past 116 years. The clock's movement is known for its reliability. The designers were the lawyer and amateur Edmund Beckett de Nissen and George Airy, the astronomer royal. Construction was entrusted to clockmaker Edward John Dent after his death in 1853. His Stephen Frederick Dent completed the work. The main bell, known as the Great Bell but better known as Big Ben, is the largest bell in the tower and part of the Great Clock of Westminster. The original bell was a 16-tons hour bell, cast in 1856 by John Warner and Sons. It is thought that the bell was originally to be called Victoria or Royal Victoria in honor of Queen Victoria. The origin of the nickname Big Ben is a subject of some debate. The nickname was applied first to the Great Bell. It may have been named after Sir Benjamin Hall, who oversaw the installation of the Great Bell, or after English heavyweight boxing champion Benjamin Count. Now Big Ben is often used by extension to refer to the clock, the tower and the bell collectively, although the nickname is not universally accepted as referring to the clock and tower. Big Ben is a focal point of New Year celebrations in the United Kingdom, with radio and television stations airing its chimes to welcome the start of the New Year. To welcome in 2012, the clock tower was lit with fireworks that exploded at every tool of Big Ben. On Remembrance Day, the chimes of Big Ben are broadcast to mark the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month and the start of the 2-minute silence. The chimes of Big Ben have also been used at the state funeral of the monarchs of 4 occasions, chiming 1 stroke for each year of the monarch's life. Firstly, at the funeral of King Edward VII, when Big Ben chimed 68 times. Secondly, at the funeral of King George V, with 7 strokes. Thirdly, at the funeral of King George VI, with 56 strokes. And finally, at the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, with 96 strokes.